This is Our View, the television voice of Washington's working families. Federation members and citizen advocates for the developmentally disabled citizens of our state recently took to the streets of Bainbridge Island to demand accountability for residents under the care of the Kitsap Tenant Support Services. KTSS employees recently formed a union with the Federation, and they're now in contract negotiations with KTSS. And any union member taking a lead soon is fired or laid off. The National Labor Relations Board is starting to take notice of KTSS and its $400,000 a year owner.
I'm here today to support the KTSS employees that have worked in this program for a long term. This program serves people with disabilities. I happen to have a 20-year-old son with Down syndrome. I'm a retired DSHS employee and I'm on the Edmonds City Council. As an elected official, I find it appalling that the director of KTSS, Michael Klosser, makes $400,000 a year on state's dime. Well, the employees that work for KTSS are making minimum wage and slightly above minimum wage. I find that to be an abuse of our tax system entirely. So I came here today to support the staff that work for KTSS to try and tell Mr. Klosner that he is using our employees, using our tax dollars, and using basically the citizens of the state of Washington that live in these programs for his own special needs. I believe that the tax dollars that are being spent in this program needs to be spent on the individuals living in this program. And that means the staff that support them and the programs themselves, their homes, their livelihood, their day programs, the people that serve them. If you have people that serve the disabled that don't have medical insurance, that don't make a living wage, they get sick, they don't come to work, their turnover rate is high, and they do not get the services that the citizens of the state of Washington expect.
The working conditions are terrible, the worst of anywhere I worked in my life. $10.09 an hour for most employees, no realistic health coverage plan, $10,000 deductible on that, no sick pay, bad vacation, only 2 paid holidays. The problem wasn't so much that it was bad on us, it was the effect on the clients. We had 46% staff turnover every year, and when you have that many staff coming and going, it's just plain hard on the clients.
So these people who serve the most vulnerable people in our state, these caretakers who do this noble work, they don't have enough money to pay for health care. They don't have enough money to pay to support their families. And this man, when they stand up and they say, it's not enough, we don't have enough, you have too much, they're fired.
I want Mr. Klosner to agree to bargain in good faith with AFSCIO, and I want him to take a look at the wages he's paying his staff and start to pay them a living wage and help pay for their medical benefits. Part of the problem here is when you have somebody who's making $400,000 a year, and I'll repeat that, the governor doesn't even make $400,000 a year. When you have somebody making $400,000 a year, that's where the money's going from the state. It's not going to the individuals that serve the people with disabilities.
The economic world crisis has workers around the world in the streets. But now what? The AFLCIO chief economist, William Spriggs, was asked at a recent Trade Union Advisory Committee conference in Paris Where does the international labor movement need to go to solve this and get people back to work?
Hopefully one is backing a new way to look at why we're in the crises. Because if we can agree that it was systemic and endemic to the way we were operating, then that means that we can be freed from models that are suggesting that this was just a small thing and that we can go on with business as usual. We really have to get the conversation changed so that we don't get pushed with ideas that austerity, returning to some sense of normalcy, is going to correct the situation that we're in. If we can get that conversation changed, then we can get to a more progressive way of looking at a solution. Currently, the way we get told the story, it's a bunch of poor people wanted home loans that they couldn't afford. It's some irresponsible countries that borrowed more money than they should have. All of that dodges around the systemic issues. I think TUAC already achieved getting the OECD to agree that they needed a group to look at new economic models. That's fundamental. And I think by continuing to push the governments within the G20 process, by continuing to push the governments within labor ministerials to have discussions about the centrality of employment, issues of inequality, issues of declining wage shares, all of those are important to get to the right policy discussion. The individual unions in TUAC, I think, have been vital in getting their governments to participate in the process and trying to create a different international climate and international discussion. And the pressures that they have put on their governments have made those governments more open to these discussions. And I think that TUAC is important in that process.
Here's a winning combination: a progressive employer, environmental concern, a special population that needs jobs, and a French trade union. This is a winner for everyone. Here's a report from Benjamin Marcus from Lyon, France.
In France, new innovations in enterprising are starting out. Creating a new brand in eco-design has been a new challenge for Jean-Marc Imberton here in Lyon, France.
Reversible, c'est une société d'éco-design. Donc nous fabriquons des sacs,
Reversible is a new brand we have created. We make bags and accessories. Our main fabric comes from plastic and advertising banners we recuperate. They are mainly PVC and polyester materials, but sometimes we use vinyl lino as well. We extend the lifetime of the fabric. We imagine new ways to recycle it. All of this is made in France and mainly in our region of Lyon. We also work with sheltered work centers and leather craftsmen.
Effectivement en France, même localement dans la région lyonnaise. Donc en fait, nous travaillons avec des CAT et des ateliers de maroquinerie. Donc le CAT, ce sont
Most of the people we work with are handicapped. This work helps them have a job and make a good living in a controlled environment, with specialists to help them out and guide them.
Rémunérés et ils sont encadrés par des éducateurs. Et puis aussi, on travaille avec des maroquiniers qui,
We also work with leather specialists who are craftsmen from this region. There are fewer and fewer of these people with all the downsizing going on, and all this helps create jobs in France.
Et ça permet de créer et de favoriser de l'emploi en France. Alors, le sac de la CFDT donc, va servir comme mallette.
For the next CFDT Union Convention, our bags will be handed out to all their members and participants. All these bags are made from advertising banners that are recuperated. Every model is unique, and by offering these bags, CFDT Union wanted to send out a strong message. With bags made in France in an ecological way, they want to show their true values. The bag will also contain pens, recycled paper, and brochures for the next convention. There will also be a bottle you just have to fill out with water. Benjamin Marcus, Lyon, France.
This month's labor history lesson from Ross Rieder reminds us our holiday gift giving can create jobs, if you just shop right.
Well, folks, we've made it another year. What do we have to say for ourselves? And who cares? Well, by golly, you and I care, don't we? This is the time of year when many of us are purchasing gifts for friends and relatives. Besides getting them what they want and what we want them to have, we know that there are other human and humane conditions to be met in our gift giving. We know that the past struggle of our parents, our grandparents, and probably our great-grandparents should have taught us something about this. One, we promised to make a liar out of the guy who said, what we learn from history is that we don't learn from history. So when we're buying, we'll be sensitive to the conditions under which our gifts were both produced and retailed. It is possible to avoid sweatshops in both cases. We do not have to buy gifts made in countries that imprison trade union leaders, much less murdered them. We do not have to buy from large box retailers that pay their workers non-family wages and can their you-know-whats if they even chat about forming a union. And I'll tell you, my favorite, though not exclusive, targets are the label Made in China and Walmart and Target. So when you're out shopping this month, remember your history. Spread your union wages with care and humanity. Go online and look up union-made products. MadeInUSAForever.com is one place to check. Then ship them by UPS or USPS, not FedEx. Don't award manufacturers and retail outlets that won't pay living wages to the American working class. Put that on your list of resolutions for the year 2013.
This has been Our View, brought to you by the proud members of the Washington Federation of State Employees. We remind you, when you accept a paycheck for your hard work, you don't give up your rights. Thank you for watching, and happy holidays.
Thank you.